Hey everyone, Rob from Southgate Media Group here. Before we get started with this podcast, we have a quick message. If this is your first time checking out the show, we love that you found us and we really hope you enjoy it. What we have to say is for the subscribers. If you enjoy our shows, would you please donate to help keep these going? We don't want to have to put traditional ads on these shows, but this does cost money. So we really do rely heavily on donations. To make a donation to the show, please go to our website, www.southgatemediagroup.com. Go to the page for the show, and in the upper right-hand corner is a donate button. It takes you right to PayPal, and you can donate whatever amount you want. Thanks a lot for listening, everybody. And now, on with the show.
My name is Barry Allen. And I am the fastest man alive.
Listen, there's a war coming. A terrible war.
You have failed this city.
Hello, everybody. This is Charles, and welcome once again to the Fandom Zone Podcast. I'm here with the wonderful Karen Lindsay.
Hello.
Hello.
You were fine. I could hear you.
I know, but it was like overpowering me. I couldn't hear.
No, you're fine.
Okay, well, all right. I just wanted to be because I couldn't hear myself. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right then.
Yeah, that's just cool. I just wanted.
Okay.
All
right, fine.
Okay. So, welcome back, everybody.
Can you tell it's the first podcast?
Yeah, this is the first podcast. We're still figuring out the new format. It's kind of throwing us a little bit, but appreciate you guys coming back. We appreciate all the interest in our 0 hour episode.
Nice feedback.
Zero.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. So welcome back, all you guys that carried over from Dangerous Habits, and welcome to all you new people, hopefully checking us out. We try really hard. We don't want to disappoint you, so we're going to give it our best here. Big week this week.
Yes, that's why we started this
Yes,
week.
exactly. We've got, if we're going to do a first podcast, this is the week to probably do one.
That's
because we've got 6 episodes of comic book shows that just really need talking about, and we finally have a forum to do that, so here we go. We're going to do that. And right off the bat, we're going to talk about AMC's The Walking Dead with the episode Spend that was on Sunday, written by Matthew Negrete and directed by Jennifer Lynch, who is David Lynch's daughter. And yeah, exactly. So she's directed for a long time. She even directed some episodes of Twin Peaks back in the day. So she's quite the noted director.
So a fair hand at it.
Yeah, exactly. And she's far less surreal than her father. So
that's a good thing in my book.
Yeah, so we didn't get like Rick walking around with an oxygen mask on his face, or dreams of like little men from another place, talking about a dead homecoming queen and stuff like that. So
yeah, or any midgets talking backwards or
little people. Little people.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Shaking finger.
Sorry. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I apologize to everyone out there.
All right. So this episode I thought was a really great episode. We basically it's the focus is centered around a group of about 6 of our cast going out on a run for some microinverters. and wackiness ensues.
As usual.
As usual.
There's always some wackiness on that show, right?
Yep, because we have our regulars. Like we've got Glenn, we've got Noah, we got Tara, Eugene, and our new people from the Alexandria Safe Zone, Aiden and Nicholas, tagging along on this run. And needless to say, it doesn't go quite well for two of the cast. If you've seen the episode, we probably should do like spoiler warnings here because there's like
Nah, they've already aired.
Yep, you should know what we're reviewing. So yeah, just kind of keep that in mind. It's been 6 days or so.
So let us tell you right now.
Yeah,
we're going to talk about the stuff that was on these shows. So too bad if you haven't seen it. So go ahead, spoil it.
That's all right. Well, we basically we find out, or as this run goes horribly wrong, we lose Aiden, who we didn't really like anyway, and we lose Noah, who is a much more significant death, and both of them die in horribly gruesome scenes. So if you watch that, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it was pretty gruesome, and because of that, I adored that. So Karen, what did you think of the episode?
Well, as you know, I did skim it.
Okay.
It was quite gruesome.
Yes, it was.
I'm not caught up, so I saw it through like a time machine.
Into the future.
That's right. I was quite lost through it, but it was super entertaining, even still.
Right.
I mean, even though I wasn't quite sure where we were. I'm probably a whole season behind on The Walking Dead.
Which is a lot for this show.
Yeah, I'm way out of the loop on it.
Anything more than 8 episodes, you're pretty much going to be like
screwed.
What's going on? I don't know.
Right.
Who are these new people? What is this?
Right.
What is this Alexandria place? What is?
Right.
Why are they all like dressed like suburban housewives and
exactly.
stuff?
Exactly. So, but I thought it was entertaining. I mean, even if you don't know the story, you can still kind of get into it. Yeah, I mean, it was what?
So you weren't really like attached to Noah because you didn't know about Noah.
No, didn't care.
Didn't care.
No. I mean, when I go back and binge watch it, I probably will.
Yeah.
But
it might ruin it for you once you meet Noah, and then you're like, oh no, he dies.
He's gonna die. Well, no, I look at everyone like that on this show because I know anyone can be gone on The Walking Dead. Anyone.
And then just like Game of Thrones on HBO, it's one of those
things. Do not get attached to anyone.
Yeah, don't get too attached. I mean, you can try to get attached to a few characters because they're probably going to be around a while. But,
sure.
But for the most part, anyone can die at any minute.
Yep. Doesn't matter how important they are to the story.
But that makes the show unpredictable.
Right.
And that's what makes it good.
Exactly.
Because you can't just no matter what danger he's in, he's going to get out of it. Nope, maybe not.
Exactly.
And that's good. That's a good thing.
Right. I'm surprised Glenn is still there.
Right.
I was watching and I'm like, Glenn is still there? I mean, no, I knew Glenn was still there.
Well, for those who've read the Walking Dead comic, Glenn really shouldn't be around much longer.
No, he shouldn't.
But the thing is, though, the AMC show doesn't really adhere word for word to the comic. I mean, there's been people that are dead on the TV show, still in the comic book, still alive in the comic, and vice versa.
Right.
So it may not be, that unpredictability is great, but when you're trying to figure out, okay, where are they going to go next? When you base it on the comic, you can't entirely be certain.
Right.
Which is good because it doesn't spoil it for you if you've read the comic books.
Yeah, I like that about it, actually. It's like you get two separate stories by the same author. Yeah. And it's like rereading your favorite story over again, like a create your own adventure kind of story. I really dig it. And he's such a good storyteller. I really like it. I love the show. I watch so many things. I really do. And I don't know why this has fallen off my radar, but now some things are ending.
Right.
Parks and Rec has ended forever and ever. And a couple other things have ended forever and ever that I'm not going to say because you'll make fun of me for watching them.
Probably.
But you will.
But so now you can promote it up on your DVR schedule.
Correct.
Got it.
Right. I mean, I can literally go back and binge watch this now. So
good.
That is what I will do. And I'll catch up to this. And then when we talk again, I will be able to discuss this.
You'll be far more knowledgeable and
right, in a more intelligent manner.
Yeah,
yes.
Okay.
But I really did enjoy it, even watching it in this way where I was disconnected from it, because it's gore and fun, and the show is amazing.
Yeah, it's one of those things. If you're a Walking Dead fan, you're probably going to stay a Walking Dead fan, or if you hate the whole thing with zombies, it's not your thing.
You're never going
to get into it, probably,
no.
Unless you treat it as like a character drama,
which it is.
Which it is, exactly.
Right.
But if you focus on that aspect, you might, as long as you can try to overlook the zombie killing as incidental, whatever.
Right.
But.
Right. Which it kind of is, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, if you separate that completely from it, it is a character study.
Right.
It's like Lord of the Flies with adults,
mm-hmm.
and then throw zombies in on top of it.
Got it.
As a disease. So my main thing when I was watching this was that the show has not lost what I love about it.
Good.
So that's my takeaway from this.
Does that give you
watching it?
That gives you hope of what, like, when you finally go around to binge watching, you'd be like, oh, okay, I don't have to worry about the show going downhill.
No.
Good.
That's exactly.
Good.
Yeah. I can binge watch it, and I know I'm just going to fall back into it and fall back in love with it. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I love this setting. I love the fact that for this at this point in the series, Rick and his group are actually the threat.
Right.
Because, you've got these like clueless Alexandria people that are like, oh, which way do I hold the gun?
Right.
Or like, where does the arrow go? Just stuff like that, and all Rick and Carol and Daryl just like, shaking their heads going like, seriously, for reals?
Mm-hmm.
But
for realsies?
For realsies, yeah. So and it looks like, and they're like, well, if things get too rough, we'll just take over the whole damn town.
Right.
So.
Well.
Yeah.
Can you blame them?
No, I don't know. It's especially when so many of the cast or the characters are really damaged emotionally.
Right.
So
gotta love Daryl too, right?
Yeah, Daryl's happy. He's got his motorcycle back.
Yep.
So he didn't have that for a long time, ever since the prison, I think.
Yeah.
Went down.
It's been a while.
Yep. But you've got like, some of the things that I noticed in this episode, like you had Eugene who, admits up front, like he's a coward, but he gets his kind of a redemption here that he rescues Tara and gets her out. In a pretty, like, he's like, I've never fired a gun, but then gets all like badass because he must play video games or something, and goes,
sure,
pew 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 pew, and yeah,
adrenaline.
And he's probably in his head going pew 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 too.
Right.
So
I'm sure he is. Lasers.
Yeah, lasers.
Yep.
You got,
with the Z and an O, lasers.
You've got Abraham with his awesome handlebar porn stash. That he's got total PTSD, but he ends up becoming the leader of this construction site, and he like seems to really enjoy himself when he's killing zombies. So I thought that was interesting. You've got Carol. Tobin?
Yeah, Tobin's the foreman, right?
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure of his name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's all scared.
Yeah, he's scared. But you've got Carol, who we know is quite the deadly, cold-blooded machine now these days.
Yeah.
And here she is playing pretense as like helpless suburban mom.
Yeah.
which is awesome. That's her cover, which makes her the perfect spy to find out stuff.
Yeah.
But she's got this annoying little tag along by Sam, this kid who just wants her to bake cookies for him.
Mm-hmm.
And she finds out that, or she suspects that Pete, this like really dicky guy, married to Jessie, this played by Alexandra Breckenridge, that Pete might be abusing her and possibly their son Sam. So she goes to Rick and is like, you got to take him out.
Yep.
So because Carol herself was abused by her husband back in the day.
Correct.
So,
we learned that in the very first episode.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously this is a very sore point for her, understandably. So the question is there enough proof? Is that really going on, or is it just Carol thinking it's going on? And we'll find out.
And of course, she jumps right to it. Kill him.
Yep. Yeah, and you've got Maggie overhearing Father Gabriel like stabbing everybody in the back by saying, betraying them to like Rick and the group to Deanna, saying, "Oh, they're evil. You don't know how evil they are." Just because he's basically a tool that you don't know this, but anybody who's been watching the show knows that he locked his own congregation out of the church so that they could become zombie food while he stayed inside in safety.
Oh, that's not nice.
Yeah, that's not nice at all. So he's kind of a hypocrite here, needless to say. And then, like I said, we had these really big deaths. We had 2 really big deaths. Aiden dies after doing something really stupid by like shooting an army guy or something that was a zombie, but he has like grenades on him. So the idiot shoots
and he causes an explosion.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I wonder what happens when you shoot a grenade. Boom!
Bloom. Yeah.
Yeah, so he ends up impaled on rebar, and he's all pinned and becomes like zombie lunch.
Yep.
They're just nom 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 nom.
Whoops.
And then poor Noah, he ends up through wacky circumstances gets stuck in this revolving door, and only like either Nicholas can get out to safety or Noah can get out, but like they both can't leave at the same time because they're being surrounded by zombies. So like Noah's like, okay, I will try to stretch and let Nicholas out first, but then of course Noah gets it. And the zombies grab his face and they're like pulling it way back.
They rip him apart.
Rip him to shreds. And I'm not talking about the Blondie song, but
out of Glenn's grasp.
Yeah, and Glenn's just like,
no.
Yikes, no. So needless to say, that was it. Yep. So this
heart-wrenching.
This is a big episode.
And I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah. So did you give this a 10 score rating, or did you?
No, not really.
You hold off because you haven't caught up.
Yeah, I didn't want to.
Okay. All right. Well, I gave this episode 9 out of 10 revolving doors.
Cool.
So
excellent.
So that's.
I would just say it looked like a
spectacular episode.
Yeah.
It was a really great episode. Even though you had some people doing some very stupid things, it made for fun, wacky zombie madness.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, people do stupid stuff on the show all the time. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Because people do stupid stuff now, and why would they change just because there's zombies?
Exactly.
All around. I mean.
Yeah.
And Michonne. Hello.
Yeah, where was Michonne during all this? That's what I want to know, because
I don't know.
It's like, get her. She will save everybody.
She needs to be in every episode.
She does, because she's basically the Wolverine of the group.
Yes.
And she's badass.
Indestructible and badass.
One of my favorite characters is Michonne.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so next we travel to Central City with my favorite TV show next to Doctor Who, The Flash. And
oh man, this might have been my favorite episode of the week.
Yeah, I think so too, because this episode was just off the chain. You thought it started off okay, it's another Freak of the Week episode. Maybe not that big of a deal, kind of a big deal because you've got the introduction of the Weather Wizard. Liam McIntyre is playing him.
Right.
So, like he's one of the major Flash rogues. But you figure out, okay, it's just kind of like going to be an ordinary, like, okay, revenge, like the Weather Wizard tries to get revenge on Joe for killing his brother Clyde back in the pilot episode.
Right.
And so he's a little bit pissed off about that. But so you figure, okay, that's it. But then, like, about with the last 10 minutes, everything happens, including the kitchen sink. They throw at this.
Well, before the last 10 minutes, though, that something special's happening, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, I did.
Yeah. I mean, you had to. Well, my whole thing was like, you like initially you had the stuff with like, the regular, the mandatory CW angst, romantic angst with Barry and Linda meeting up with Iris and Eddie at the bowling alley. And then you've got Iris like going up to Barry and wiping food schmutz off the corner of his mouth, going, being all touchy-feely, and Eddie's like, I'm not down with this.
I know.
And, I can't blame him, and you can't blame, like, Linda Park, Barry's girlfriend, for being upset with it either, so.
No.
But, and then you had Cisco. He creates this little weather or wizard wand device that looks rather suspiciously like the 12th Doctor's sonic screwdriver.
Yeah, I know.
But then, he's all suspicious about, Harrison Wells, because we know secretly he's a bad guy. Well, the moment that Wells leaves his wheelchair behind at the CC Jitters coffee shop with Caitlin. He's just because Caitlin's trying to keep him there at the request of Cisco, so that to distract him, so that Cisco can like go look up stuff about the particle accelerator explosion.
Yep.
And then,
well, let's go look into this.
Yeah. Let's
go investigate.
And then,
let's go see what Cisco has brewing.
Exactly.
And
then, here it is, like after 15, like on our 15th episode, Wells finally says, okay, that's it. I'm done screwing around with you guys.
That's right.
And what happens? He just
Cisco eats it.
Yeah.
Lots of stuff happens.
Yeah. Well, Wells is just like, basically, screw it. I'm leaving the wheelchair. The secret's out of the bag. I'm going racing back to Star Labs, gets a hold of Cisco, and I thought that Carlos Valdez, who plays Cisco, did a really good job playing Cisco, because he's all, you can tell the fear that Cisco has with Wells, because once Wells is like, hey, you could see, like, I've got super speed, and like, I'm the Reverse Flash. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, not just that, though. I mean, when he started to pick apart the fact that his voice was actually Wells' voice, from that moment on, it was just the complete breakdown of his hero.
Right.
And so he was just defeated. The whole image of his hero was gone. And the way he played that out on the screen was just... I mean, he plays this kind of
goofy,
happy sidekick sort of.
He's
he's
the guy who names all the supervillains, gives them cool code names, and he
eats the snacks and
he makes the tech, and he's tech guy. But this time,
and he's always like flirting with Caitlin and all this stuff. But this was almost a breakdown for him, that this guy that he has idolized for so long is now the bad guy.
Right.
The bad guy.
And a seriously bad guy, because he's one of the top echelon of bad guys.
Right. He killed what is essentially one of his best friend's mother. And not just that, but once he confronts him about that, he says, well, I wasn't trying to kill his mother, I was trying to kill him. Right. And that's, you
are like I am your father moment.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. But
so I mean, that was it was so well played by him.
Yeah, and Wells, just lays all the cards out on the table. He's
Yep.
he's just like, oh, by the way, I'm Eobard Thawne, and like I'm from the future. He doesn't say he's from the 25th century, but Flash fans
Right.
know he's from the 25th century.
Right.
And
Well, he alludes to it.
yeah, and he says that like I'm stuck in the past, and Barry's the key to getting me back to my time, which is
Right.
why he's been trying to build up Barry's super speed in the process.
Right.
Try to get him to
Right.
be able to break the time barrier. And oh yeah, by the way, Eddie's my 21st century ancestor,
Yeah.
which we all
So the guy the guy who's dating the girl that Barry's in love with
yes,
is my ancestor.
right, yeah,
Whoops.
yep. Well, which
My bad.
it's like like you want to like make sure he's like really safe because you don't want to be like wiped out of existence.
Right.
So and that's we get the explanation by when they had the episode The Man in the Yellow Suit, when the Reverse Flash stops and looks at Eddie,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like
Exactly.
so we got that. Flash.
Yeah, we knew he was.
If you're a
Go
longtime
on.
Flash fan like me, you probably figured this out a long time ago. But it was great to have confirmation of it once and for all. And then you've got the newly revealed Eobard Thawne just vibrates his hand into Cisco's chest, and basically does the Kalima, and
I think we had
squish.
that same scene in Constantine, didn't we?
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. That's why it's all connected.
That's right.
But
Yeah, that was amazing. That was, I mean, and not just that. We had that whole reveal,
right.
but Barry saw himself, so that played out in the fact that now can we kind of say that he's discovered the
Yeah. Well,
Speed Force?
kind of. He doesn't. He's just taken that first step into a much larger world.
Yeah.
Because-
I mean, that's essentially what he's done, though, right?
Kind of. Yes.
He's put his toe into the Speed Force.
See, that's the thing is we have Cisco who's been killed off, but the thing is though we have something else in play here for the very
he went back in time.
Exactly.
Though, right?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
For the very first time, time travel is introduced.
Right.
In the show.
Right.
Because you had the whole as if that whole Wells revelation wasn't enough and Cisco being killed off wasn't enough.
Right.
You've got they just go right back into the bag o' tricks, throw some more out at you. Like you're already overwhelmed and you're like, there's even more crap coming at you because you've got the Weather Wizard creating the tsunami to take out Central City.
Yep.
And the Flash, Barry's there with Iris, and he gets his first kiss with Iris. So you get Barry and Iris's first kiss at long last, making every Flash fan happy. Barry and Iris are together at last. And then but then the Weather Wizard shows up, and Barry's just like, crap, I have to change into my secret identity.
I didn't want you to find out like this.
Yeah, I didn't want you to find out like this, but guess what? I'm the Flash. I've got super speed. Sorry, I didn't tell you.
My bad.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't tell you.
Again, my bad.
And then he's like, see you later. Bye.
Yep.
Races off. Races
Yep.
off.
And then he makes that wall of wind,
Yep.
which is awesome.
Yep. He basically creates this opposing force to counteract against the tsunami, so it would collapse upon itself, save Central City. And it moves around so fast. But the problem is, he moves around so fast, he breaks the time barrier.
Right.
By going so fast.
And he appears. That's the vision he saw.
Yeah. He saw a vision of himself earlier in the episode, right?
Yep. And you had to know that was him when they were showing you the stuff that was happening on the street,
right?
So that you'd remember it.
Right.
The chick with the dog and the woman who couldn't get the taxi, and I was like, okay, they're showing us this as markers for when we see it come around again.
Exactly. Anyone who's watched, if you're big into time travel, if you're big with Doctor Who or Back to the Future or anything, you pretty much knew what was coming.
Yeah.
Kind of.
So it was either someone else was going to show up and turn back time for us, or it was going to be Barry turning back time.
Right. Now, my question initially was, okay, well, is this second Barry that's running alongside, is he from the season finale down the road?
Right. Or is he going to be...
Yeah, is it from this episode? And it turns out it's from this episode now.
Right. So that means that not only has Cisco not been killed, but
Well, not yet, because
right.
because Barry's creating this alternate timeline already.
Right.
He's going all Back to the Future too.
Right.
And create this alternate timeline. So probably he will save Cisco from getting killed.
Well, I'm saying at this point, where we are, Cisco hasn't been killed. Wells hasn't outed himself.
Right. Yet.
Right. The bowling date hasn't happened yet.
Mm-hmm.
He and Iris haven't kissed.
Right. So we could get a huge reset button and have
everybody... And he hasn't revealed himself as the Flash.
Yeah, so we could get this big reset button and everybody go, arg!
Right. So none of this stuff could happen. As far as we know.
Yeah, there is that possibility.
Right.
So
we've seen it all happen.
Right. The question is what sticks.
So what's going to stay and what's not?
Mm-hmm.
It could all stay or it could none of it stay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what happened. It was an amazing episode.
Yes.
And I like that right now I have no idea what's going to happen.
And that's what makes for an awesome show, as we previously said. What did you give this episode, Karen? I'm presuming you rated this one. 9. 9?
9 out of 10 vibrating hands.
Nice. I gave this one 10 out of 10 abandoned wheelchairs.
Nice. That's good.
This is a good...
10.
I give this a big 10. This is my favorite episode of the season so far.
I'll give it 9 out of 10 jazz hands.
Nice. Jazz hands. But yeah, I think it's the best one of the season so far. Yeah, I mean,
I agree with you.
If you're one of those people who haven't checked out The Flash, you probably want to watch some episodes before this. But this show, this shows right here that the show is only getting better and better.
Yeah, I agree.
And they're getting more ambitious with their story. So
I think my second favorite might be the crossover with the Arrow.
Right.
I love that one.
Yep. So, all right. Next, we're going to go to another CW series, iZombie, the very first episode of iZombie.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one was written by Rob Thomas, who is from, like Veronica Mars fame.
Yep.
If any of you Veronica Mars fans, I've never watched Veronica Mars. I will admit that up front. Yes, I know you can
join the club.
Yeah, so
I haven't either.
I can appreciate the fandom.
Me too.
I'm just not part of it. So maybe at some point I'll get on Netflix or whatever and burn through these episodes and catch up. But
I know it's good.
So,
I do. I know it's good. I just have never watched. I've so many things I've watched.
Yeah, Tom, and then I guess this is also written by Diane Ruggiero Wright, and this was directed by Rob Thomas himself. Being the pilot, of course, makes sense. But we're introduced to Rose Mcivor, Karen, who do we know? Where do we know her from?
She played Tinkerbell on Once Upon a Time.
Yes, she did, and she was Adorables.
Yeah,
Orbs at it.
Very angry Tinkerbell most of the time. Yeah. I loved her on that.
But
I recognized her right away as Tinkerbell.
But here she's a zombie.
Well, a doctor, then a zombie.
Then a zombie, but one of the most adorable zombies you'll ever meet.
Very much so.
Yeah, because she plays Olivia Liv Moore. Get it? Liv Moore?
Mm-hmm. I get it.
Yeah. I see what you did there, Thomas.
Yeah. All the names are like that on this show.
Yeah. And, she, we get an origin tale for Liv, but it's very quick.
Oh yes, very.
We just get a little a tease.
It's like flashes of it.
She does it like a voiceover, and she's like, "Oh, by the way, I was on this booze cruise, and I was partying away, and then all of a sudden these zombies came up and attacked, and I got scratched by one of these guys who was David Anders from
Once Upon a Time,
but also Alias and all kinds of things." So
he played Dr. Whale on Once Upon a Time. For those of you who can't picture him,
So and he was Sark on Alias. So if you're an old school Alias fan like me, and then she wakes up on the beach and she's basically turned into like an undead zombie where she, unless she eats brains on a regular basis, she becomes like your typical shambling zombie. So, but as long as she gets her steady diet, she's essentially like Buffy the Vampire Slayer as a zombie.
Right.
And I think
I
this show appeals to that Buffy crowd a lot.
Yeah, I kind of thought of this as like a cross between Buffy and Psych.
Mm-hmm.
Because when she eats the brains, she gets that vision.
Mm-hmm.
And then she has to tell the cop what the vision is, but she can't really tell him why she gets the vision.
Right.
Like on Psych, where the guy can't, he's not psychic. He's just really intuitive, so he can't tell the cops where he's getting his visions from.
Yeah.
You know, so it gives me that sort of vibe from it.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked that part of it.
Yeah, we got
that she was. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that. Yeah, because her boss at the morgue, the county morgue or whatever, Dr. Ravi. I'm not even gonna try to butcher his last name because it's
Chakrabarti.
Very good.
Yep.
Chakrabarti.
Chakrabarti.
Okay, so Dr. Ravi Chakrabarti.
There you go.
All right. He essentially to give the show its formula or a little bit is that he explains Liv, who, like she gets knowledge from the people whose brains she consumes.
Right.
She gets their memories. So in order to explain explain that away to the detective Clive Babineau, played by Malcolm Goodwin, he explains that away as that, oh, by the way, Liv's psychic. Yeah, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, say no more. So, yeah.
Now, Dr. Ravi,
mm-hmm.
How can you not like that guy? He was great, right?
He was a fast talker, and you could tell he's a smart guy. And the good thing is he seems like a good guy because he seems like he's talking about he wants to cure Liv's zombieism. Is that a word?
Right.
I don't even know if that's a word.
Right.
But
whatever is causing
it's a word now. Ha.
The zombieism. Yeah.
Whatever.
The virus, I guess.
Right.
It would be a virus, right?
Essentially, yeah.
Well, he's the perfect ally to have in that he works at the morgue with her, so he can help her to investigate all these things.
Right.
Whenever she gets a vision, he can help cover up the fact that she needs brains to eat.
Right.
And he's there with her all the time. So if anything happens, he can, spirit her away to.
Exactly. And I like the fact the fact that we don't have you have to go through the whole trope of Liv trying to keep her secret from her boss.
Right, exactly.
It's just
she doesn't need to do that.
It's all out in the open.
That's right.
She keeps the secret from other people, like her mom.
Right.
But she from her boss, at least she has an ally.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Now, I don't understand how she can keep it a secret because she looks completely different.
Right.
From how she used to look. She was a brunette. Now she has gone completely white.
Well, I think they explained away that it's like her Liv's goth phase.
Okay. So she puts makeup on her entire body?
Apparently. Yeah, I know. People aren't really connecting that, or maybe, she's got a skin condition. Who knows?
I see.
I don't know, but spitballing ideas here.
I get that she's explaining it away somehow, but it doesn't make sense to me. But whatever. Right. I mean, I'll hand wave that because I think the show's good enough to carry that.
I think so.
I love this show. Now, Robert Buckley, who plays her ex,
right, in
the show, and I thought this was a great name, Major Lillywhite. Her fiance turned ex-fiance. He is not listed in the credits for any episode past the pilot. So I don't know whether he'll be back or not.
I don't either.
He's not in the preview for the second episode either.
Yeah, unless he's only like a recurring character that shows up every so often, maybe.
Could be.
Yeah,
and that's kind of sad because
I don't think Liv's mom gave up on the idea of Liv going back to her fiance.
I would think not.
Yeah,
but
not right away anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He seemed really nice.
Now, one of the things I liked about this right off the bat was that they used like an animated opening sequence.
Like a comic book.
Yeah, like great. A comic book. It had Michael Allred's artwork. And Michael Allred was the guy that co-created iZombie, the comic for DC Comics Vertigo. So he's on board, obviously, with the new TV show. Even though the TV show differs quite a bit from the comic book.
Yeah. Still, I think it's really good.
Yeah.
And I think it has a similar flavor to it.
Yeah, and I think the setting at the morgue works far better than a gravedigger setting in the
Yes.
comic.
Yeah.
I know fans are going to be like,
I like the morgue.
I'm sure you got comic book purists going like, oh, her name isn't Gwen Dillon, and she's not a gravedigger, arg, and she doesn't have a ghost, Ellie the ghost.
I think the names are humorous. I love the names.
Or like, she doesn't have the Scott the Were-Terrier. And, it's like, that's not going to work on television. You had to.
This is so whimsical. I love how whimsical they went with the names and how light and funny things are on it. It's so accessible to people. It doesn't need to be as dark.
Right.
I think for TV, this is great.
Exactly. Like I said, I get the total Buffy vibe that I enjoyed way back in the day in the 90s.
Yeah.
It's fun, it's supernatural, it's lighthearted, it's it doesn't take itself too seriously. So
I agree. I guess that makes me a non-purist.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't mind them translating it so that it makes it more TV accessible, I guess.
Right.
I thought it was great.
Yep. It's not a rehash of The Walking Dead, that's for sure.
No, not at all. It's completely different. It's a 180.
Yeah, I'd say if anything, the closest thing it is compare it to is the movie Warm Bodies that had had Nicholas Hoult in it.
Yeah.
I love that movie. So if you haven't seen that movie, I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
I think it's a very underrated. It's going to be like a cult classic here down the road, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
But although you did have like George A. Romero and 28 Days Later nods, which I thought were cool.
Yeah, and I liked when she went to the grocery store and she was getting the zombie movie and then Bronzer.
Yeah.
And just stuff like that. It was great. And putting brains in noodles.
Right.
Just stuff like that was wonderful.
Now you kind of wonder why. Go ahead.
I also wanted to give a nod to Ally Michaela, who played Peyton Charles. And I said sister or BFF, and now I looked it up, and it is her BFF. Peyton Charles is her roommate and best friend. And I think she was good in this. She didn't have a huge part, but she was one of the people that kind of showed us that people were worried about Liv. This sudden, complete turnaround in Liv's behavior.
Right.
So it was something that was like, okay, we're not hand waving this completely. We noticed that she's different.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I know her from somewhere, but I can't put my finger on it. I had to look her up. And she is completely different looking from when she was in Easy A and Hellcats.
Ooh.
She was blonde with long curly hair in Easy A and Hellcats. And she is brunette with kind of shoulder length hair in this. Well,
probably offsets her against Liv.
Yes, I believe so. Although in her promo pics now, from the last couple of years, her promo pics have been dark hair. Maybe the blonde was dyed.
Right.
I think she looks better with dark hair, to be honest. But she was great in this too. So I really liked this.
Yeah, I did too.
I liked it more than I thought I would.
Yeah, I think this pilot caught a lot of people by surprise about how much fun it was. And I think hopefully a lot of people tune back in for the second episode this Tuesday.
Yeah, I know I'm going to.
Yeah, I am too. I think I'm just going to be like watching The Flash, of course, and then just leave it there and be like, okay, this is my Flash iZombie power 2 hours.
Yep, exactly. And then just leave it on that channel for the next night.
Yep. And come back for Arrow the next day.
That's right.
Yep. So what did you give this episode?
I think I'm going to give it a little room to grow, maybe an 8. An 8 red staplers.
Ooh, nice. They took my stapler.
Yep, that was my reference.
Office Space. Very nice.
I said it like him too, right?
They took my stapler. Why did they always take my stapler? I don't know why they take my stapler.
I need a red stapler.
I love that guy. That's my favorite guy.
Yeah, me too. Oh, it's Stephen Root.
Yeah, exactly. And who was on True Blood.
He's been on everything.
Yep, yeah.
He's been in Fringe and on Lost.
And News Radio back in the day.
Oh yes, he was a big thing on News Radio.
Yeah. So I'm with you, totally on board with this one. I also gave it 8. I give it
Okay.
8 out of 10 brains covered in hot sauce.
Excellent.
So definitely room to grow, but a
Highly recommended.
very promising start. And yeah, if you haven't checked out the show yet, check it out.
Yep. Just leave it on after you watch Flash.
It's worth your valuable time. Yeah, just watch the Flash, of course, and just hang in there and watch iZombie because it's a great pairing.
And it was the pilot, so you can jump right in.
Yep.
Watch from the beginning. You don't have to go back and watch anything.
Yep.
So, really great, fun, happy.
Check it out.
Yep.
All right, moving on to our back half. So we went through all that, and we got to 3. So we got 3 more to go.
I know.
So we're going to do our best to get through these last 3. We're doing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on...
this one might be short.
Yeah, this one might be short because you're not up to speed on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. yet.
Not at all.
Yeah, see,
although I do have to say...
I'm a faithful viewer. I'm current.
Okay.
So
I do have to say, Christopher.
Yeah.
I'll just say that.
If you're a Sopranos fan, you know what we're talking about.
Yep.
But this episode, One of Us, was written by Monica Owusu-Breen, directed by Kevin Tancherowin, who I think is Marissa, co-show creator, Marissa Tancherowin's significant other, if I'm not mistaken. And then we have this episode featured the return of Kyle MacLachlan, one of my favorite actors because of Twin Peaks, old school back in the day, and Dune.
Yep.
And he's just so much fun, and he really chews the scenery as Calvin.
Always
Calvin Zabo, who Marvel Comics fans know as the villainous Mr. Hyde. So we get him, and we've got a special guest star, Blair Underwood, as Dr. Andrew Garner. And then we have the horribly underused Drea Di Matteo as Carla Faye Gideon, who was like this obscure as hell, one-time only Daredevil supporting character in a miniseries that for some reason they liked the name and then slapped it on this brand new character for this episode. So I don't know why they did that, but they did. So this basically is okay, you've got Calvin Zabo deciding, okay, I'm going to gather up a team of really lame supervillains. And because he's
scorned supervillains, right?
Yeah, you're not getting like Loki, or you're not getting Dormammu, or any of the Red Skull, or any of the big guns. You're getting like Angar. The biggest gun they bring in is Angar the Screamer, who is this obscure as hell Marvel Comics villain.
Mm-hmm.
Who normally in the comics dressed like a hippie because he was created during the 70s, I guess.
Right.
And then you've got a bunch of no names, like you've got like Carla Faye Gideon, and this hacker guy named Wendell Levi, and some big strong guy named Nosh, who does, I guess, smash stuff. That's all he does. That's his purpose.
Nosh smash.
So not exactly like the most impressive roster you could put together, even for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And you had Carla Faye Gideon. She's got like these razor fingernails
that she covers up with gloves, right?
Well,
little, like metal gloves.
Well, supposedly, like she was able to be released because S.H.I.E.L.D. like permanently locked her fingernails down,
right? With
this little finger covers,
right?
That had to be unlocked.
Right.
But I'm thinking...
And so that's what Kyle MacLachlan did, is take those off.
Yeah. And so, but I'm watching this episode going, well, why didn't S.H.I.E.L.D. just take the fingernails out?
Right.
And just depower her?
You would think.
And it seems like the obvious solution, she's not a threat anymore if she doesn't have the razor fingernails, so take the fingernails out.
Right.
But I don't know. So I kind of as a writer, I found this a major story flaw as far as her character goes. But on the flip side, we did get some good stuff with Blair Underwood's character being revealed as Agent May's ex-husband, which we thought was pretty cool because we get a little background on May. And, we see those two bantering like an old married couple a little bit. A little bit of sexual chemistry there. So maybe we'll see Dr. Gardner back somewhere along the line. I kind of wonder if they would possibly have some kind of love triangle, maybe with Garner and May, and then maybe Phil Coulson. Could be.
Ooh, Phil.
Yes, because
Phil.
there's always seems to be a little vibe between Coulson and May. Especially,
I could say something nasty, but I know we're child friendly, so I won't.
Yeah. Well, especially now that May isn't banging what's his name?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mr. Trader guy. So I thought that was
the turncoat.
The turncoat, yes. And then meanwhile, we've got Skye/Daisy Johnson, for you Marvel Comics fans, struggling to contain her quake powers. So she finally decides, okay, I'm out of here. Because I can't, it's not working for me. You've got, and the big revelation at the end of the episode, toward the end of the episode, is that we find out that Mockingbird, Hawkeye's ex from the comics, and Agent Mac are actually working for another S.H.I.E.L.D. group that is supposedly the real S.H.I.E.L.D. And so,
right.
So, and there was a whole big upheaval with Hydra revealed as being in control of S.H.I.E.L.D. And so they broke it up, and then Coulson's like, okay, we got to rebuild it back stronger, faster, better. We have the technology.
Right. But apparently
there's somebody else doing the same thing, and apparently they think they're the real S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right.
And
so who's the pretender and who's the real one?
Exactly.
And you would think Coulson would be the real one, right?
Because he's all sanctioned by Nick Fury. You think, okay, he's like the guy.
Right.
But the thing is, though, is we're going to find out. We don't find out in this episode, but we're going to find out. So spoilers probably a little bit here. But probably this other S.H.I.E.L.D. group is probably led by Edward James Olmos.
Yeah, that's what I get from
that's my hunch.
Seeing that he's going to be in the show.
Yes, and Admiral Adama, come on. You've got Coulson versus Admiral Adama. That's going to be a face-off.
He's not playing Admiral Adama.
I know, but still.
We'll talk about him later. He's in the spoiler.
You don't get Admiral Adama for some little wimpy role here. You get Admiral
No, that's
Adama
true. But again,
especially as a S.H.I.E.L.D. leader, you want him to be Admiral Adama.
If you want to know something about Edward James Olmos in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., he will be talked about later in the spoilers section.
Provided we can get to it. So
stop yammering.
All right, I'll shut up. Well, okay. So I'm guessing you didn't.
I'm just joking.
I'm guessing you didn't rate this episode.
No, I didn't. But it was good.
Again, you abstain.
It was good. I liked the part about Kyle MacLachlan kind of being nutso.
Mm-hmm.
And the scene in the diner I thought was kind of oddball funny.
Yeah.
I don't eat. That was funny. And then I just kept saying through the whole thing, Christopher, every time she was on the screen. Yeah. My husband did not appreciate me doing that.
Because Drea De Matteo, for those who don't know, was on The Sopranos.
Yeah, she played Christopher's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Who Christopher actually, was he the one that directly killed her, or did he have someone else take her out and shoot her?
Well,
because he was supposed to kill her. I think he had someone else.
Exactly. He was supposed to do it, and then Paulie did it.
Yeah, Paulie Walnuts.
Yep.
So, but he sat on her dog and killed her dog when he was high. Yeah. So anyway, I was a big Sopranos.
You killed my dog?
You killed my dog. She got all pissed off, and that's why she went to the feds.
Yeah.
Because he killed their dog. So she had nails like the nails on the show, so I just kept going, Christopher! And my husband is totally caught up.
Yeah.
So he hated the fact that I was like skimming it while he was watching it caught up. And
got it.
He was all like, shut up. I'm trying to watch it. But I thought it was cool, and I did understand the fact that Coulson is trying to rebuild S.H.I.E.L.D. after the whole Hydra incident and all that. And then the whole thing at the end with, oh my God, there's someone else thinking they're also trying to rebuild it. So what's going to happen there? So I got it. I mean, I understood what's going on.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I understand now. The part that I had to ask him about was the finger thing.
Yeah.
And I wasn't clear on that either, but I'm glad to hear that you weren't completely clear on that.
No, it was basically like it was Mr. Hyde and a bunch of no-name characters.
Okay.
Except for Angar the Screamer, who actually sort of matters, I guess.
Okay.
But not really, because he's not like,
because he and I talked about that too, and he was like, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, and Angar the Screamer was wasted anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
Yeah. So wasn't like the biggest fan of this episode, as you can probably tell. I still enjoyed some of it, parts of it a lot. So I give this one 8 out of 10 lame supervillains.
Okay. So, I would give it like 7 I don't eat.
Okay, got it. Excellent. Okay.
I thought it was pretty decent, but
yeah, they've had
not fantastic.
They've had better. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. It didn't have Patton Oswalt in it.
Yeah, it didn't have Agent Ward either, or ex-Agent Ward, whatever he is. So Grant Ward, let's just call him. Okay, moving on quickly as possible. We're going to move to Sony PlayStation Network's new show, Powers, based on the comic book by Brian Michael Bendis and Michael Avon Emming. Those of you who have
oddly entitled
Powers. Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy go nuts. This episode, Devil in a Garbage Bag, this was the 4th episode of the first season, which is a great title.
I love the names of these shows.
That's a great title. It's written by Allison Moore and directed by David Petrarca. And it's for those of you who've checked out the Powers TV show, you may be like me where excuse me, you feel that the show doesn't it's not quite up to par with the other shows currently on TV these days, at least the other comic book shows. There doesn't seem to be much money thrown at this show. This is Sony's first real TV, TV series for their PlayStation Network. They're trying to build this up so they have something kind of like Netflix, but it's not quite there yet. It's definitely not. It's definitely not along the lines of like House of Cards or Orange is the New Black.
Oh no,
no. So
this is like Canadian shows before they started doing stuff like Continuum, Lost Girl, and this is like Highlander, the TV show.
Right. Does that make sense to you? That says a lot. Okay. Yeah, it does. It speaks volumes.
Now, mind you, it's not the worst show I've ever seen.
No. Speaking as a fan of the comic book, I'm a little disappointed by the execution of this show as far as an adaptation.
Yeah.
I think some of the casting leaves a lot to be desired. And the tone of the show doesn't really, as anybody who's checked out my blog, I did a pretty good rant about this episode, the pilot episode. How it's basically like it's all bright and sunny in LA compared to the comic, which is very dark and noirish and gritty.
Right.
So, and then I feel that Charlton Copley, who's as anybody who's watched any Neil Blomkamp film, especially District 9 or Chappie, they should be familiar with him. He plays Christian Walker, who in the comic book is this big hulking former superhero figure.
Right. Cut.
Yeah. Just he basically bigger than Schwarzenegger big.
Right.
In his prime. And, he's supposedly paired, in the comic book, he's got this little demure partner, Dina Pilgrim, who is this, the little blonde Spitfire that just cuts and snarks her way through every situation.
Right.
And drops F-bombs all over the place.
Yeah, and they're nothing like that.
And they're the characters, they're perfectly decent actors, but they're not the characters from the comic book.
Right. They are good actors.
Right. And I'm not saying that because, Susan Hayward is African American. I'm saying that because
No. She's not that character.
The character that is written for her is not the character from the comic book, in my opinion.
Right.
She's not Dina Pilgrim. She's much more like a fish out of water into this world, and that she doesn't really cut and snark her way through things. It's just more like she goes WTF kind of thing.
Right.
But it's not it's not the okay, I got to hold this person back from killing a suspect or something.
Right.
So
she's more in wonderment than anything else in the show, I
Right.
think. Like, anything that happens, she's just like, wow, I didn't know that sort of thing happened.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's like her whole gig
Yeah.
on the show.
And
Almost every episode, she does that like 2 or 3 times.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Does that really happen with powers?
And she usually does that with Christian, who's like, keeps going on about, like, I used to have powers.
Right.
And
that's his whole
yeah,
shtick,
and
right?
it's like he's feeling sorry for himself, which isn't the character from the comic at all.
No.
Because the character from the comic be like, oh, I used to have powers, but, this is my thing now, so I'm cool with that.
Right.
And, he's much more self-assured and together in the comic book.
Right.
So again, this isn't really the comic book, so it's very frustrating for me. And then you've got the decision they're keeping Michelle Forbes around as Retro Girl
Mm-hmm.
when her character is killed off. She's the initial mystery of the comic book.
Right.
So they're kind of restructuring. Now, in a way, it's cool because we get to see Michelle Forbes as Retro Girl.
Right. Who I love.
Right. And she's always fun to watch.
Right.
And
that's fine. I don't mind if something deviates.
yeah, I don't either. But as
now,
as
what's
a
the
whole,
central mystery?
Yeah, exactly. So they basically kind of jumped ahead to like the whole the wannabe storyline where you've got these powers wannabes,
Right.
and you're throwing in Johnny Royale, like handing out drugs, this drug called S.H.I.E.L.D, so that presumably only his plan is that he doesn't want anybody to feel powerless.
Right. Yeah, he wants to make everyone powerful and chaos ensue.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
And he released Wolf, I guess, to help with that.
Right.
And he realizes immediately that that's not good.
And Wolf, who's played by Eddie Izzard.
So good, though.
Yeah, he is.
He's amazing.
He's always fun to watch.
I know. I love him in this.
He escapes his cell in the prison after he's been repeatedly tortured, rather brutally, by Trip Hammer and his crew to create. Basically, they're trying to put together the drainer technology that's already in the comic book at this point.
Right.
So
in order to drain people of their powers.
Right. They're creating it, so they have to do research about what it takes to drain powers away.
Right.
So they just torture the hell out of Wolf.
And that's how Walker lost his powers.
Right. Because apparently Wolf took them away.
Right. And he discovers it in this episode.
Well, he knew about it, though. In the pilot episode. He was moaning on about it in the pilot.
Okay.
So he's still moaning on about it.
It felt like he realizes it in this episode because he's like, he has my powers.
Yeah.
In this one, I didn't understand why he said that.
Maybe he didn't realize that he had powers. Like maybe he just thought he drained them and that was it.
Oh, okay.
But he
didn't realize that he
actually had them.
Can manifest them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my guess anyway. So, you've got things like in this episode, you've got Retro Girl taking Callista to this Powers Club, which is all exclusive, and she ends up sneaking out and hooking up with this graffiti artist named Crispin, which is
whatever.
Yeah, it's interesting. So
hipsters.
Yeah, and you've got Zora, who is nothing like her comic book character.
No, nothing.
Because Zora in this series, she's the aspiring celebrity superhero. Right. She wants the fame. She wants the glory. She's got a manager. Now, she does clash with the manager in this episode because she wants to help Christian and Pilgrim with their, Walker and Pilgrim with their investigation.
Right.
But
in the first episode, she and Walker kind of bond.
Right.
So at least we know she's good.
And she has a superhero costume made out of duct tape, apparently.
Yeah. Very 80s.
Yeah. And she's got the whole Geordie LaForge banana clip visor, and
it's
pretty bad.
Banana clip. He was literally wearing a banana clip in the show that was painted.
Yeah. Spray
painted. This is a real prop that she has on her face, at least.
Yeah. So
she's all right.
This episode, overall, it was interesting because you had the whole escaped fugitive idea loose in the prison. So there's an element of danger.
Well, look, more Wolf.
Yeah. So that was cool. And he's a threat. He's a major threat.
He is.
So
and all that blood was awesome.
Right.
I'm sorry, that was cool. Eddie Izzard is just great. If they can feature him in every episode, the show might get better.
Right.
But I have to agree with you. It's a little on the cheesy side.
Yeah.
And it is, like I said before, I'm not a purist, but it has to be better or at least as equal, as good as the comic.
Right.
Equally good as, and I don't think this is.
Yeah, Walking Dead has proven that you can adapt a comic book and do it well.
Sure.
So
I think sometimes the Walking Dead TV show is better than the comic.
I think so too. I totally agree.
Sometimes it is.
I totally.
So, and I think this iZombie, honestly, I think the setting is better.
Right.
I really do than the comic. So, this just, I just don't think it's as good.
Yeah.
Powers is an amazing comic book.
Yeah, it is. So they really need, the showrunners really need to step their game up here.
Big time.
Fast.
The titles are great.
Yeah, the titles are great. So you got that going for you.
There's that.
Yeah. And you got Eddie Izzard, so that's cool. And
yeah, Callista can go away.
Yeah.
I don't like her at all.
Well, she's kind of important to the comic book.
I know, but I don't like her.
Okay.
If they're going to stray from the comic book, then
kill her off.
Yeah, I think it's someone else to fill that role.
I think she's just more annoying because of Johnny Royale, who's who's like skeevy in this adaptation.
Yeah. Now,
played by
we
Noah
do
Taylor.
want to mention.
Yeah,
we want to mention Noah Taylor, who plays Johnny Royale, and I was like, I know that guy. I know him. Where do I know him from? Like I did with Ali Michaela from iZombie. So I looked him up, and who is he? He was on Game of Thrones, and he played Locke, and I was like, Locke? Who's Locke? I know that name. Oh, he cut off Jaime Lannister's hand.
Oh, yeah. That whole thing.
That's that dude.
Yeah. So I did not realize that until Karen pointed it out to me. So I'm just like, whoa.
Yeah, and then it hits you.
Mind blown.
Right. And I immediately, of course, recognized Adam Godley. He plays Captain Cross. Now, he has an American accent in this, but he plays Nigel on Suits, who is with the English law firm that kind of goes halvesies in with Jessica until they kick them out. But he goes head to head with Lewis Litt.
Yeah.
And he's a funny character on Suits, but it was interesting to see him with an American accent on this show.
I totally agree. So overall, what would you give this episode?
5.
5?
Yeah.
I wasn't
5. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me find something. 5 bloody hair. Because he had blood all in his hair.
Right.
5 bloody hairs.
Matted down. And yeah. Well, I was a little more generous. I gave it 6 out of 10 vandalized bathroom mirrors.
Nice. I like that.
You like that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could not look away from the blood all over his face.
Yeah.
After he was done devouring those people. Because I was just like, wow, Eddie Izzard is just so unkempt and naked all the time. He was just naked for the first 4 episodes.
It's just butt shot after butt shot after butt shot.
Yeah, just completely naked for the first 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not the worst show ever. I think it could get better, but
yeah, we'll see.
If you're not watching it now, you're not missing a lot.
Not really. No.
Read the comic.
Yeah. And speaking of gratuitous body parts, we're going to switch now to Arrow on the CW.
Let's do.
Yeah.
What gratuitous body parts were in this? What did I miss this week?
Well, I'm just saying in general because you usually have Stephen Amell like doing the salmon ladder with the shirt off, and
tattoos.
You're drooling all over your microphone. You know that. Yeah. Okay. So
cute.
Yeah.
I'm such a cougar. He's probably like young enough to be my son.
My wife Lori is exactly the same way. So you're not alone.
Okay. Brandon Routh's cute too.
Yep. She's not as into Brandon Routh, but
I'm not either.
She thinks he's okay, but
okay.
Yeah. So this episode is The Offer, written by Beth Schwartz and Brian Ford Sullivan, directed by Dermot Downs. And we've got Matthew Nabel returning as Ra's al Ghul. I know some people call it Ra's al Ghul, but In this,
They do on the show
they-
too. They
no,
do
they-
both ways. So
they do. I think they generally do Roz though on the show.
they do, but he says Rosh.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And then you've got John Barrowman back as Merlin, who's always fun to watch.
he was so talkative in this one.
Yeah.
Not.
And you had, speaking of not talking, you have Adrian Glenn McMorran as Murmur from the Slash comic books, who's the dude that's got his lips sewn shut.
Yep. Is that a thing?
In the comics, that's his thing.
No. That's the line that.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I missed that one.
Yeah.
Well done.
He says the lead guy he had his lips sewn shut, and she says, "Is that a thing?" Apparently. And then she looks him up and finds him.
So this episode is basically about This episode is basically about Roz making an offer. Hey, there's the title. To Oliver to take over as Ra's al Ghul, because apparently that's now a job title, not his name, which I don't get.
See, and that's completely different from the comics.
I don't get that at all. That it's like it's like editor-in-chief, or whatever. It's like it's a title.
It's the Dread Pirate Roberts.
Exactly.
Is what it is.
That's exactly great comparison.
Now, here's the deal: is the Lazarus Pit
Mm-hmm.
in the comics? The more you use it, the crazier you get.
Generally, yes.
But then there were modifications made, and that changed.
And then
Is that right?
it depends on the writer. Some people just they pop out, they're just fine after being dead for a while. But generally, they're a little nuts at first, and then it goes away.
Okay, so the nutso can fade.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because we do have the introduction of the Lazarus Pits, as Karen was talking about.
He's been sitting in it though a couple times.
But we got confirmation this time.
Right. We got told that's what it is.
Yeah, it's like yes, you guessed it. It's the Lazarus Pits.
Okay.
So,
yes, what you've been thinking is true.
Which means we could see the resurrection of a certain character that was killed off earlier in the season, perhaps.
There.
Yeah. Who might be on the new CW TV series.
Who is going to be on the new CW series.
So
I mean, that's a lock. We've already heard.
So if you connect the dots, she's probably gonna get resurrected, and so she can be on the new CW show. But
right. And then Daddy's not going to be mad at the other little girl anymore.
Yeah. Well, he's not just Laurel. Quentin's pissed off at Oliver too.
Yeah, he's pissed off at everyone right now.
And I don't blame him, because it's like,
no.
Why would you hide the fact that my daughter is dead? Your sister. Why would you hide that?
Because they didn't want to take the heat for it. That's why.
And that's just.
It wasn't to make him feel any better. It was.
It's very bad writing as far as I'm concerned.
No, I think it's exactly what they would have done.
But
I really do think that's exactly what they would have done.
It seems a little, I don't know, self-interest.
Yes, it was.
But don't you think it would have been better to be open and honest and say, "Oh, by the way, I'm sorry, Sarah's dead."
Yes, it would have been better, but I think they would have hidden it from him.
Yeah.
I do think that's what they would have done.
See, I thought to
protect themselves.
See, I'm kind of with Quentin on this one.
I am too.
I'm taking Quentin's side, because I think they should have been open and honest with him from the start.
I agree completely. But I do think that they were fooling themselves into thinking they were doing it for Quentin, when really they were doing it so they wouldn't have to confront Quentin about.
Right. So they're cowards, basically.
Right. Yes, exactly.
So that's not cool. You don't want your hero being a coward.
Yeah. Well, this is essentially the second time Oliver has been responsible for Sarah's death.
Right.
So he didn't want to come out.
I don't want to go through all that again.
Right. And Laurel definitely didn't want to say anything about it.
Well, I know initially she was worried that because of Quentin's health, that
was an excuse.
That's what I thought.
It was an excuse. She just didn't want to tell him because
she's a coward. Yeah.
A coward.
She's a coward. But
once her mother knew, there was no excuse whatsoever.
Yeah.
So anyway, I mean, we're getting into other things, but the Lazarus Pit, that's the whole thing that makes Roz. I'm sorry, I'm going to call him Roz, because Ra's al Ghul is.
Some people call him Raish.
Yeah, I know. I in my head I always call him Ra's al Ghul. So so Roz, he. In the comic book, that's what makes him immortal.
Right.
Him.
Yes.
Not incarnations of him.
Right.
Him. Yes. Immortal.
Yes.
So is this just some sort of ruse to...
I don't know. I don't know
lure Ollie out of Central City, not Central City. I keep saying Central City.
Starling
I know.
Yeah.
It's Star City later.
Well, yeah.
I hate Starling City. It's
I
the
do
worst.
too. When the moment that Ray Palmer did his whole like, hey, let's do Star City presentation.
I was ready.
I was like, yes.
Yeah,
Star
I know.
City, because Starling City is such a stupid name.
I know. I want it to be Star City so bad.
City.
Just change it right now.
Exactly.
Starling City's the worst.
Stop dicking around and change it.
Exactly. I said Central City like 5 times this week to my husband when I was talking about Arrow, and he's like, "It's not Central City." Okay, yeah, okay, I get it. That's the Flash. Okay, fine. It's across the river. All right. So is he trying to lure Ollie away from Starling City? I mean, is that the whole deal? Because then he shows up and pretends to be the Arrow.
Yeah, I think my whole take on this was that he wants the city to turn against Oliver so that Oliver will take up his job offer to take over as Roz. So,
yeah, but
because he goes through the whole thing, he's like, that everybody in the city is going to turn on you, and you're going to be hated, and so you should come.
I get that,
Roz. And then, of course, later he dresses up as Oliver,
right,
and goes to Starling City, and it's like tries to, he's going to start like being
some sort of turf war.
Well, he's gonna get Oliver blamed for stuff, and have the city
killing again,
turn the city against him again.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and he killed those guys. So
yeah, you're right.
And Ollie has stopped killing people.
So that's, I think, is his big
ostensibly
plan, that he's just trying to get Oliver to become his successor.
No, but here's the deal, though: are they really going to stray that far? Well, we know Ollie is not going to do that,
right?
But are they going to stray that far that Roz is actually going to be this rotating?
I don't know.
Character?
Well,
because that doesn't seem right to me.
I think he's the big bad for the season.
Yeah.
So eventually, at the season's end, we'll get a resolution somehow. But
do you think Merlin's going to take it up instead?
Probably, because they got to do something with Merlin.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise you.
So he's either going to get killed off,
or they think he's dead, and he goes into hiding for a while. Maybe he goes to Gotham City to fight Batman. What a concept! Because Ollie's stealing all of Batman's villains for this show.
It's true, he is.
So
Roz is a huge Batman villain. Yeah. I mean, he is Batman centric essentially.
Yeah.
As far as he's like grandfather to Batman's child. So
right, Damian.
Yep.
Yep. So what else we got in this episode? We got Oliver visiting Felicity at Palmer Technologies. Whoops. That's just a little awkward. Yep.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Oh, you can do what you want.
Yeah.
That was not a good cover.
No.
He did not cover that very well. He did not like seeing that.
Yep. That was a big.
And Felicity knew.
Big fail.
Yeah. Yeah. He was like, "Oh, I'm all right with it. I'm okay with it. Whatever. I don't care. You can do whatever you want." Right?
Right.
I mean,
totally.
You could tell completely that he just was not cool with it.
Yep. So do you think Felicity is going to go over to the new show with Ray?
Oh, she might. That would cause a huge uproar.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where they're going to go with that.
Are they trying to prep that?
I don't know. Maybe they figured that would get more people watching, but
it would.
Yeah. So.
But then Katie would get more people watching too. Sarah.
Yeah.
She's got a huge fan base.
Yeah, Katie lots.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll find out. We got a flashback to Hong Kong where it revealed there was a Shadow lookalike.
Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But she had to be dead because Slade thought she was dead unless he doesn't know she's alive and she shows up again later.
Mm-hmm.
Because we'd like to get that little bit from the comics where Shadow eventually has sex with Oliver and they create a baby.
Right. Because he's a playa.
He's a playa. He's leaving little babies all over the place. He's got one in Central City already.
Little arrowheads.
Yeah, that he doesn't know. So which will probably turn out to be what's his name from the Connor Hawk.
Yeah.
My guess is he'll be Connor.
Oh.
Yep. So that's my guess. for those of you paying attention to that little very subtle plot line that's been dangling back and forth between both shows. We got Starling City Police Headquarters attacked yet again.
Mm-hmm.
This is like, what, the third time? And these cops...
The worst security.
These are the cops that are protecting the city. And then now you understand why there's a vigilante, because these cops get attacked and they get killed all over the place by Murmur's crew this time.
Yeah.
So
Gotham City is better
right
at defending themselves in the police headquarters, and Gotham is the worst city ever for violence.
And then at the end, we got an interesting scene with Nyssa and Laurel, where Nyssa is like, okay, girl, your skills suck.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to teach you right.
Yep.
So come with me,
Young
Padawan.
I've been feeling fine, baby.
And it's not like Nyssa doesn't have a thing for lances.
That's right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's right. So let's Nyssa's keeping it all in the family.
Yep. Well, I mean, Oliver likes them both.
That's true.
Why not Nyssa?
Yep. But so yeah, this was pretty good. I mean, I don't think it was like one of the Hallmark Arrow episodes, but I thought it was pretty entertaining.
No, and there were a lot of questions brought up for me that were kind of conflicts. And again, I'm not a purist, as you guys know, but the whole Ra's al Ghul thing, I was like, Mer?
Yeah.
You know, if it turns out that he is playing Ollie in some way,
right,
then I think this is a good thing.
Yep. Then,
that's cool. If he's making this offer that's not really an offer, if there's a prophecy and it's not really that, you know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
If he's making an offer but it's really not to take over.
Got it. Okay, so what's your rating for this episode?
7 lost boys in the market.
Okay. Because we got Akio.
Yeah.
Daddy! Yeah. I was like, where's Katana? Break Katana.
Dummy.
Yeah. I gave this 8 out of...
Oh, we're not safe in the market. Okay, bye!
Don't.
Yeah.
I gave this one 8 out of 10 Lazarus Pits.
Okay.
So
you liked it a little more than me.
Yeah, I did. I'm more generous, I think.
Yeah. I thought it was okay. It was just like really disjointed for me.
Yeah. So we're running a bit long here. So I don't know.
I can go quickly over the...
Yeah, we need to go through this pretty quickly because we're running pretty good.
I will.
All right.
So here's some very quick casting news. The Preacher series is going to be on AMC. They cast Arseface.
Arseface.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
which I don't know why it's not called Assface, because they're in America. They should be calling him Assface, but
well, they might.
But it is the comic. That is direct from the comics, so I can't fault them.
And they cast Tulip, so you can catch both of those articles on superherohype.com.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, you can look up all of these on superherohype.com. That's where I get my news. I'm not going to go into detail on these since that's where I got my news from. Just go look it up on there. They're both, from this week. So Arseface casting and Tulip. Ruth Negga is playing Tulip.
Mm-hmm.
And the young man from Rake, from last year's show Rake, is playing Arseface. The teaser for next week's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw it. It was, they were discussing, what's her name? The crazy guy's daughter's powers.
Skye.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
They were discussing Skye's powers, and they were comparing it to the Avengers, and they were going back and forth on which Avenger she would be. And I found that quite humorous.
That's good.
So it's kind of a shout out to you. Oh, well, I think she'd be more like the Hulk. No, Captain America. Come on, No, come on, Iron Man. No, come on, no Iron Man. She doesn't wear a suit. But, so if you want to look at that, that's the Avengers shout out in the teaser for next week's S.H.I.E.L.D. Also on Superhero Hype. And again, as mentioned before, the spinoff show for the Flash Arrow spinoff.
Mm-hmm.
They have another rogue to appear on the show, and it is Heatwave.
The
The young man who is playing Heatwave on The Flash will also be playing Heatwave in the spinoff show.
Yes.
And he was just cast this week.
Right. Well,
so that's
brought over.
And then
because Captain Cold's already there, so we got to have Heatwave with Captain Cold.
That's right. Yeah, they're gonna. I'm guessing they're gonna cross the streams again.
Yeah.
And as long as we're going quickly through this, also on Superhero Hype, there were a couple new Age of Ultron TV spots, so you can look those up. They were very good. Today, Joss Whedon mentioned that there were more heroes that were going to appear in Age of Ultron than we know.
The Wasp. So, the Wasp.
I hope so. That would be cool.
Yeah. You got Ant-Man, so you might as well have the Wasp.
I know. T.J. Miller is going to appear as the Weasel in Deadpool, and Morena Baccarin is going to be Copycat.
Yep.
Those were cast this week as well. And then there was the big story about the pulled Batgirl cover, which I don't think is as big a controversy as other people think. I just wanted to mention it because the artist was the one who wanted it pulled.
Right.
So if I don't think there's a huge uproar over it anymore, but just so you know, DC was not the one that caved. It was actually the artist that wanted it pulled in order to avoid any uproar.
At least that's the story we're given.
Correct.
Right.
So.
All right. So, Karen, where can they find you on the interwebs?
I am at Aliveria on the Twitter machine, and I have an about.me link there in my bio where you can find all my links.
Awesome.
Including this one.
Awesome.
To
Perfect.
This podcast.
It's crazy.
That's right.
I'm at Charles Skaggs on Twitter. I'm also on the Instagram, and I'm on Facebook, and I'm on the Google Plus for all you crazy kids on the Google Plus. And then you can find me also on my blog of geeky things, Damn Good Coffee and Hot, where I'll be talking about a lot of this stuff, with the shows that we cover here, lots of news. So hope you guys check that out if you enjoyed this show. As for the Fandom Zone Podcast, you can find us where?
Oh, on Twitter at
Yes.
Fandom Zone Cast.
Right.
On Facebook at facebook.com/Fandom Zone Podcast. And our email address is fandomzonecast@gmail.com.
Right. So, yeah, drop us a line. Let us know what you think of the show. Let us know what you think we're doing right, wrong. We're looking for feedback here. We want to make the show great. We want to do it better. Every week we want to improve this thing. So whatever you guys are digging, what you're not digging, let us know, and we will address that in some fashion.
Right. Are we going to do some quick spoilers, or are we going to drop that this week?
Well, considering we're at an hour and a half already.
Oh, we should drop that then.
Probably, yeah.
Okay, so look up spoilers on spoilertv.net.
Well,
I got them from the press site, but they should probably be up on Spoiler TV within a couple days.
Yeah, as some of the shows go away, go on hiatus or whatever, I'm sure we're going to have more time to talk about that kind of stuff. It's just this week we had 6 shows and a lot of stuff going on. So
yeah.
So hopefully, fingers crossed, we do better next week and have time.
I'll tell you, Arrow and The Flash and iZombie were all next week's episodes, so those are all available to look at. No info on Gotham, which is coming April 13th. No info for the next Powers episode. No info for the next Walking Dead, except for what's available out there. And I did have 2 episodes away on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but that is readily available on spoilertv.net. So.
Very nice.
There you go.
All right.
So I guess we shall bid you adieu, yeah?
Yeah, I think so. So from all of us here at the Fandom Zone Podcast, take care, and we will see you again. Hopefully come on back with our weird music, like going in and out. What's up with that? I don't know. Seems like it's
playing you out, dude.
Yeah, it's going. I think she's just messing with me at this point.
I'm not. I'm playing the outro music.
It's yeah. So.
Okay, I'll just play it when you're done.
All right. How's that? That sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
So say your goodbyes and I'll play the outro.
All right. So we'll see you next time, guys. Talk to you later.
That's it? Is that it? Seriously?
That's it.
After all that messing? Okay, guys, seriously.
What?
I didn't have outro music last week, and I said I didn't have it, and then I cut it, and I told Rob to cut the end off and then put the music in, and he didn't cut the end, but he put the music in, so I'm saying I didn't have music, which is hilarious, I thought. And now I have it, and Charles can't finish the thing by the time I play it.
What? I'm wrapping it up. I'm saying we'll see you guys again next time.
So, okay, we'll see you guys next time, and bye.
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 No, you go. You hang up. Okay, we'll see you guys next time.
See ya.